you can see me and hear me. That was very difficult to get back on. I apologize. Hey, everybody. Sorry about that. I had a real struggle getting onto the mobile app to get this done, so I apologize. Hello, JD. Thanks everybody for your patience. John Benicki, Beaumont Hill Sub, Joe Rader, The Count, Hot Dog Pilot Andy. Thank you all for hanging on there. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really regret doing this on a mobile basis. I should have had somebody else do it for me because this has been very frustrating. But here I am. So thank you very much. I'm gonna try and show you pictures using my cell phone and the backside camera on this tablet to talk about some projects and show you my progress on my bench work so far and maybe get a little input about that. So I'm in a hotel lobby, well, a conference area. Hopefully it'll be quiet. I'm going to just grab my cell phone here. Let me go ahead and switch the camera so I can at least show you where the heck I am. There you go. You can see I'm in this kind of lobby area. So I've created a slideshow for y'all. And I've just got to log into Google Drive. There it is. So hopefully this will focus, but you can kind of see this is the state of my bench work right now. Doesn't help. My palsied hands don't help, and there's just really low light in this little conference area. But you can see this is the state of my table, my first table for my layout. This is 10 feet long, 3 feet wide. And let me switch to the second picture. And you can see this is the back side of the backdrop. It's a double-sided backdrop, and it's 18 inches on each side. So it's kind of like a shelf layout on each. So each side is 18 inches, and I can, of course, expand that bench work, make it a little bit deeper with my plywood and pink foam. So that will be my objective, just to show you a few more details here. And I apologize for the quality of photos here and what you all can see or not see. But here's how I made the legs. They're basically an L girder shape. And that's been screwed and glued. I eventually ended up screwing and gluing a lot of the table as well because it was not proven to be very stable. And when I was having to make an adjustment on something, it was falling apart. The screws were coming out, so I ended up gluing a lot of the framework of the table. But I figure I'm so darn old that the likelihood that I'm going to make a lot of changes is low. So thank you, Dave, for letting me know that this works okay. So that's how I made the legs. Again, it's 53 inches tall. Just changing my page here. And these are the feet I found. Hello, race fan. Is that Formula One race fan, Pearson McQuillan? Here are the feet that I found. I had already had 16 of these, so I am using these, and I'll probably buy 40 or so more and just use these throughout, they won't mark up the floor that I spent so much effort refinishing in my shop. Now here is in the bottom of the benchwork, I built a little bit of a framework, and I'm going to drop plywood, probably half-inch plywood in there, and store things underneath the layout. I'm not going to have a lot going on underneath the layout because I'm going dead rail. But anybody who's doing under layout storage who has any advice for me, I would welcome that. Should I be using 3/4 inch plywood? Should I make shelves in there? Maybe I have 2 layers because of the weight problems. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I have a ton of models and modeling supplies that need to be stored somewhere, and being in there and covered up by the layout skirting would make it more attractive, make the space more attractive. So that's kind of my plan. And let me see if I've got another benchwork shot here. Yeah, this was just kind of the back, just to make sure that everybody understands that this is going to be double-sided. The layout overall is going to be a dog bone, and each side of the dog bone is going to run down the side of this. Yeah, Beaumont, I know it would be great to have wheels. So maybe that's what I should do, have carts and just have an open framework. Yeah, right. And those let me go back to that. Those bays are basically 5 feet long, and so 1x2, I don't know if it's going to be strong enough. That'll be the issue. I may have to change that out for a heavier gauge, or maybe run another long member down the center there to provide more support. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So, but thanks for your advice about that, for sure. Yeah, I've got bins. It's not just model railroading, it's also model airplanes. I've got a lot of stuff. Diagonal supports, that's a good idea, Beaumont. Yeah, maybe go across there with something. So, all right. So, my next topic, let me change page here again. The first industry that I'm going to build on one side of this is a auto transshipment facility, where cars come off of ships and get loaded onto auto racks to ship out. That's what mine's going to do. These yards obviously could do something different. They could, be a place where auto racks are unloaded. But I found one yard that I'd seen in person was this yard in Richmond, California, and initially I thought I was going to build this actually in one of the end bulbs of my layout, because you can see there's some track going around the outside of that. Whoops. There's some track going around the outside on a curve, but I eventually found that even with my 42-inch radius curves, there really wasn't enough space to build a yard inside the bulb. So I decided that one side of this first table is going to be this auto transshipment facility. Boy. So here you can see, just on the left-hand side there, you can see the track arrangement there, where the cars are loaded and unloaded there, the tracks that are more towards the center of the screen. Those are, there's concrete or asphalt But on the left-hand side, you can see the exposed concrete ties, and that's kind of a storage yard where trains are waiting to be removed from the yard or loaded. And you can get kind of a better sense here of what this looks like. It's interesting how the turnouts all appear to be wooden ties. Everything else appears to be concrete ties. So I have acquired some concrete ties. You can also see down here in the corner is a rack for loading and unloading the cars, the automobiles from the auto racks. And so I've been working on a project to get, I don't have any pictures of that project, unfortunately, but I'm working on updating some of the Walthers auto racks to be more modern, to be on wheels, to be operated hydraulically, instead of having the ramps being lifted by cables, which was how the old Walthers auto racks are set up. So I'm working on that. But this is kind of the layout and what I'm going to put on the on one side of that first table. And I've got to say, it's yeah, you're right, Beaumont. This is going to take up a lot of space, and I found that 10 feet is really not quite enough to do it. I think I'm going to have to reduce the track count down to 2 or down to 2 possibly. One of the problems I have is the smallest switch that I really want to have on the layout is a number 10, and that takes up, 15 inches roughly. So to create the yard, it takes quite a bit of space. So, and these auto rack cars are very long as well. So I'm still figuring out exactly how much I can fit on the layout itself for this particular yard. And it's good lesson learned because I want to build a container yard as well. So, but that's the plan. Now, many of you have probably seen this auto rack car, and I thought it would be fun to have this car on the layout. It's going to be a general interest thing. Anybody seeing the layout is going to enjoy this and have a chuckle. And as you probably know, Circus City has done a decal of this in HO, and so I acquired that. This is a huge decal. And so it's going to be interesting to do that, to apply this decal. I love doing decal work, so I think it'll be interesting. It's too bad they don't have, there are other cars with Marge, Bart. I don't know that there are decals available of those, but this, or that they'd be on an auto rack, frankly. But this should be a fun project. So I did acquire from High Country Models in Alabama. They had this CN auto rack that looks very close to the real item, and so that is going to be a project that will get done. It should be a relatively easy project. Boy, I don't know if I can I make this larger? There we go. So this is an Atlas auto rack, but it's the same CN noodle as the original, and so I think it'll work out okay. I think I've got another shot of kind of a detailed shot of the car here that I can show you as well. Yeah, there we go. So it looks very similar to the existing car. The decal sheet has new reporting marks and stuff to put on there, so it should be good. Boy, I'm really sorry about the quality here. This is really low light situation, so things are not coming out as well as I'd hoped. But all right, I'm going to move on to my next project here, which This is a structure that I'm building, and I'm building this by laminating photographs to a styrene. Hello, Trackside Mike. How are you doing? So this is a coffee shop in Haltom City, Texas. There we go. A little bit bigger for y'all. And I'm going to try and find a way to keep this a little steadier, too. There we go. So this 151 coffee shop is, and I thought it was a good subject for a photo lamination technique because it's a very simple structure. Basically, it's basically a rectangular box, and other than the roof and these awnings, it doesn't really have a lot of stuff that I'd have to build onto it. So. And it's also a very modern looking structure, which my layout is going to be modern. So, so I took pictures of this. So let me see. Okay, that's 11, that's 12. Okay, so here you can see one of my initial photographs of the structure. And one of the key things you need to do to utilize photographs to make structure models is you have to remove what's called keystoning, or the perspective problem created. In this case, I was standing on the ground opposite the coffee shop, and you can see how the top is narrower than the bottom. And this effect is called keystoning, and it needs to be removed digitally so that you wouldn't have this if you could position the camera higher up. And of course, I had my drone. I could have taken pictures from higher up on the sides, and I didn't. I just took pictures of the top with the drone. So I had to use digital to remove that keystoning before I could use the pictures. So, sorry. Okay, what happened to my... And here's the photograph where I've fixed the keystoning. You can see the sides are pretty much parallel to each other. There's no keystoning in there. So I've actually fixed this this image. Now you can see there's a lot of glass on this, and so that'll come into play later. I have a technique I'm going to use to try and replicate that glass. Hello, Mark. How are you doing? Good to see you. So here is the back of the coffee shop, and I'm just showing you this because I want to show you my modified photograph of this, where I've removed the bushes, cleaned up the image so that I can use to paste to the side of my structure. And there's guttering on here that I'm going to replicate. I'm also, I think, going to cut out a picture of the 151 circle there and the word coffee, paste it to some black styrene, and then glue it on top of the structure to provide a little 3D relief. Have that stand out. Oops. I don't think. Yeah. All right. So this is just another detail that I noticed in studying the structure. You can see the eaves of the structure actually have wood planking, stained wood planking with circular recessed lighting in them. That's underneath the eaves of the roof and also underneath the overhangs, the awnings over where the cars pull up to pick up their coffee. So I had to figure out a way to replicate that, and I, again, use digital technology to do this. By the way, speaking of photo lamination as a technique, Lance Mine did post in my community page. He did in Model Railroad Hobbyist years ago. think 2012. That's a good article and does provide some basics about this. I did try to get my screen to not black out as often, but I failed. So here is the digital art that I created in order to do those eaves that exposed that stained wood. And then I just put a field of white dots on there, figuring that I can, cut these out in strips. And I got them in a couple of different sizes to see exactly what would work, kind of experimentation. But hopefully it'll be good enough to simulate that part of the structure. And by the way, I have gotten a good ways into constructing this. Now, unfortunately, one of the important things about taking photographs of structures, if you're going to use the photographs rather, to model the structures, is you need to take it on a cloudy day. So that there isn't a lot of shadowing. Obviously, you can tell from this picture that when I took the pictures of this structure, it was completely cloudless day, very sunny Texas day. And the front of the structure was completely in shadow. And there are shadows falling on the signage and everything, so it's not ideal. So my advice is when you get your pictures, make sure you do it on a cloudy day. The other challenge here is you'll notice that the front of the store has got umbrellas on it, blocking the view, and so I had to do a lot of digital manipulation to remove the umbrellas, tables and chairs that were blocking the front of the structure. So it was that was quite a challenge to do that. But here you can also see one nice little detail is the cables holding up the awnings. So those will certainly be part of the structure. Yes, Mark, you would know about structure challenges, that's for sure. So here is the digitally modified. I'm going to turn my camera so you can see it a little bit bigger. So here's my digitally modified image of the front of the structure after removing the umbrella, removing all the furniture, and then that darker, smaller window area there is where there's a pass-through window so they can hand merchandise out to customers who are sitting on the deck area there. And I've also, it's a little hard to see given the low light here in this area where I am, but I even copied some clouds and put some of them in some of these windows as a reflection very lightly just to give it a little bit of more visual interest. But that's actually the front of the store. I even had to recreate the tip of the state of Texas down there at the end because that was blocked by one of the umbrellas. So honestly, I think that came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So here is the print of the all the surfaces on the building. So let's see if I can. So here you can see this is the left-hand side of the building. You can see the shadowing falling across the signage, which is pretty unfortunate. This is the left side of the building, and you can see I've removed that trailer. There's a white trailer in there. I completely removed that and recreated the entire side of the building. And I had to recreate those windows on the left side near the back of the building as well. So it was quite a project. And I can't really blow that up for you, but you can see that's the back of the building, and that was covered by bushes, and there was an air conditioning unit on the ground. that I had to remove, and I totally cleaned up that area. You can kind of see a few flaws. I can't, but overall, I think that came out pretty well. Oh, sorry, I'm sure you all are women's college basketball fans. All right. So that's kind of the main, these are the pictures that I'm going to laminate onto the styrene core. And what I did was I saved this as a JPEG. You can see this little red line here, kind of in the middle of the picture. That little red line is 1 inch long. That way, when I go to a printer and I have them do a test print, I can check to make sure that their printer has not scaled the image automatically in any way and that it's going to be the right size. So, good night, Andy. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I appreciate it. Hello, Dwight. I didn't see you here earlier. Hope everything's going well. So I really recommend having that kind of a benchmark or a mark in order to make sure that everything is scaled out properly. So I took this as a JPEG to FedEx, and rather than printing it out myself, I actually had somebody at the store print it out for me. And I had matte photo paper that I used to print this. So let's see. So here is let me see if I can blow this up a little bit for you. Here's a shot from my drone of the roof of the building. And you can see it too is very simple. It's just got corrugated metal roofing material. It's got a gutter at one end. The whole thing is sloped. From the front is high, the back is low. And so there's just a gutter running along the back edge of the roof. One gutter. And you can see that the awnings as well are clad in the same kind of roofing material. And so, very simple. It's got 3 small vents on it, a black outline, a black edge around it. So, it is a very simple structure to model. Here also you can see the trailer off to the right-hand side that I painted out of the picture. I do have a few small trailers, so I could put a. Whew. In case you all are wondering, this is really difficult to run this slideshow this way, so I'm sure it's not easy for you to look at either. Hello, Edward. How are you doing? Yeah, I thought, the AC unit's on the ground, Mark. You can see it here in the back of the building. So pretty simple. You can also see the layout of the parking and these over to the left-hand side of the building. There are these red kind of traffic divider concrete columns, which I had to paint out. But I'll probably model that. Well, that concrete is a base for the building as well. So, Edward, it's good to see you here. It took me a while to get started, so I apologize. I apologize to the whole group for that, actually. So, let me show you a little bit about so here are the sheets that I printed. You've seen these individually. At the top is the I actually got from I don't think I have a better picture of it. Let me see. No, I don't. I actually got from a company I've bought container models from before, paper models. I got some air conditioning unit models, and I had those printed out at the same time. And I had 2 copies of each of these done, except for the air conditioning units, on matte photo paper. You can see from the reflections on the eave material that it's not completely matte. It does have some shine to it. So one of the challenges in photo laminating and using photos is they're very sensitive to moisture. They can be damaged when pulling and that sort of thing. So I wanted to conduct an experiment and find some material to preserve those photos and make them waterproof, and so that I could glue things onto them like the eaves of this building. So I acquired this Krylon Artist's Finish, which is supposed to protect various types of artwork. Noticeably, they don't say photographs in their descriptions, so I was making a guess. So there's matte finish, and there's also gloss finish. My thinking was that I would use matte for the side of the building, and I would use the gloss for the window areas. So I did have an individual shot of the air conditioning units. So that's from Digcom Designs. I recommend if you want to check out their website, Digcom, Digcom Designs. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the site. They have a lot of containers, truck bodies, and they're starting to do some structures, some paper structures as well. So I recommend checking that out. So what I did as an experiment, see if I can get this to turn, was I sprayed some of them with the matte finish and some with the gloss finish. And here's the matte finish, and you can see that it basically ruined the photographs. It had this ghosting effect on it. I may have sprayed it the second coat too soon. I'm not sure, but I don't want to have to be that careful when I'm doing this. So that matte spray result was really bad, and it basically ruined the pictures. I did end up using these pictures as part of my construction process, measurements, and that sort of thing. But it really did ruin it. Thank you, John, for posting their site. Yeah, you know, Mark, I could not find anywhere online anybody talking about how they glue these photographs, except in Lance Montime's article. He does use a spray product. I think I do have it. Let me get back in here to my pictures. Here's another shot of the matte experiment. You can see that they were all that all got ruined. It's making it a little bit bigger there. So here I'm beginning construction, and these are, I had some black styrene, and so I've cut out the front, back, and sides. Again, the front is taller than the back. So yeah, I'm really worried about using that 77 adhesive because it has no adjustability to it whatsoever. Once your item touches that glue, it's not moving. And so while I've used it before successfully, comes in a big spray can, I'm really leery of using it. I don't know if I skipped ahead, sorry. Okay, 28. So here I am gluing the front and the back to some of the sides, just using my 1, 2, 3 blocks to hold it in position, and you can see the ruined photographs. I still cut those out to use as guides for cutting out the styrene for the block. And here, let's see if I can get this to turn. Yep. And here you can see I've got the structure assembled, and again you can see the one of the sides and the back and the front of the structure, which are of course different sizes, that I used as a guide in doing this cutting work. Then I braced the corners with some tubing, some square tubing that I had from Plastruct or something, and I put one across the center just to keep it from moving. It's 0.03 styrene, so it's not the strongest styrene in the world. So it's good to have these braces. They made a big difference. Now here is the roof partially under construction, and the awnings are partially under construction. I cut a sheet of the black styrene, the right size, and then I have started lining it, surrounding it with different sizes of styrene strip. And the other side, I don't know if I have a picture. Yeah, okay. And here's the other side of those items, and I know it's difficult to see, but that's corrugated material that I had. I think it's from JB Designs. It's pretty thin stuff, but on the top I have the corrugated sheeting that's going to be painted white, and on both the awnings and the main roof. So it's coming along. So here I've masked off the parts of the structure that I don't want to be glossy. And John, you'll be glad to know your favorite Krylon high gloss works really well on this after it's been protected with the Krylon protective gloss spray. By the way, the Krylon protective gloss spray did not yield a glossy result at all. It was even more matte than the original photograph. But I could then spray it with a regular Krylon gloss coating. And that upper piece was a test that I did with that. It's got two coats of the gloss on. Didn't harm the pictures at all, and they did get glossy. So here I have masked it off, ready to excuse me, ready to spray it with the gloss. And here it is after I've gloss coated it. It's still wet. You can see the front of the building on the right is reflecting a ton of light. It's had two coats of the gloss and is really quite shiny and looking quite glass-like. So I'm hoping that'll really add to the realism of the structure when it's completed. Message from my son Blake, who I could never get into modeling, unfortunately. And so that's where the project stands right now. It's a long way from finished, and I'm headed to a funeral. My wife lost a sister, and so we're going to be in St. Louis this entire week, so I won't be able to model, won't be at the shop, because I'm kind of at a painting stage now where I need to paint those roofs and awnings red. So, but that's my project, and that's the end of my slideshow as well. So what time is it here? So it's almost 9 o'clock, and I'm not going to keep anybody any longer, but I really appreciate you allowing me to share my projects with you. Let me So thanks everybody for hanging out and looking at my slideshow. I think I'm coming up in a couple of weeks due to some scheduling issues with all of us on the STS team. So at that time, I'm going to do a. That's correct, James. No duck. No duck. Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually getting this structure completed. It's really interesting. I've been meaning to model this for a long time, and I took those photographs years ago, so I'm really excited with how it's turning out. If anybody on the stream here has experience with photo laminating, and you want to reach out to me separately, please do so. My email is bob@rrjbgroup.com. And I I'd love to chat with somebody about how to do this and what you recommend, because this is my first photo lamination project. I guess the one exciting thing I'm going to have going on during this trip when I'm away from my shop and my computers is I'm going to try and produce a video for YouTube using CapCut and my tablet. So that's going to be an interesting experience. Hello, Joe Rader. Good to see you here, sir. Yeah, thank you, Ed. Yeah, I mean, my wife comes from a large family, 7 kids. She is the middle child, and she's now the oldest one left. Her 3 older siblings have all passed, and so their mother's still alive. So it is kind of a weird dynamic. But at any rate, it's a good reason. I'll be in St. Louis right now. I'm in Indianapolis halfway. We drove halfway today, but I'll be in St. Louis. That's a railroad town. If any of you all know a good hobby shop in St. Louis, that would be great. I've done some rail fanning in Kirkwood, and that's a great place to watch trains. I do have my drone with me, so good Lord, James, 17. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I don't know what to say to that, James. But if you have any recommendations about places to rail fan in St. Louis, hobby shops in St. Louis, that's great. I've been to the, we're not staying there because it's too damn expensive, but there's the Grand Central Station in St. Louis is now a Hilton hotel, and so I stayed there. They have some static displays. It's, I think, where the St. Louis Aquarium is also located. There it is. You park underneath some of the remaining skeleton of the platform area of the station. It's really cool. But if you know places where there's a lot of active action, I think there's some railroad action at the Arch, actually. But I can't fly my drone at the Arch. So, but in particular, hobby stores. The other thing, and there's a big railroad community. Ken Patterson is a St. Louis guy. Joshua Barton, who's on the What's Neat This Week podcast, works at a barbecue joint here in St. Louis. So, hello, Heath. How are you doing? I'm done with my presentation about my projects, but it's good to see you here. So if you have recommendations about hobby shops in St. Louis, I'm game. And maybe I'll see another structure that I can take pictures of for another photo lamination project. Now that I'm on this photo laminated structure jag, it'd be nice to have another photograph. Well, Heath, because of all the crazy tech I've been using, I can at least show you a couple of pictures here. I'm just going to go back to the overview of the structure. Sorry, I'm looking away from the camera. All right, I'm going to change this over. So for latecomers, here is a picture of the building that I'm modeling using photo lamination techniques. It's a coffee shop in North Texas. This is actually really quite close to Angelo's Hobbies in North Texas. And yeah, Heath, I'm in a hotel. I'm traveling right now, and was hoping I could execute a live stream adequately and with mobile, and I really failed, probably due to I had a great live stream using my tablet when I was at my shop, but here at this hotel, I've had constant struggles. But this is the structure that I'm modeling using photo lamination techniques. And let me just show you progress shot. And here's a shot of the photos that I printed out after a significant amount of digital manipulation to clean them up and print them out in HO scale on an 8.5 by 11-inch sheet of matte photo paper. And here's kind of the state of the core of the structure. So that's kind of where we are. So yes, you can see I'm in a kind of a conference area of the Conrad Hotel in Indianapolis, which I got at a very good rate, or we wouldn't be staying here. Thank you, Priceline. Yeah, and you know, Joe Rader, just reacting to your comment, I do believe once I have it sealed, I can coat it with whatever I want, it looks like. So if I coat it with the matte, then I can put gloss on. And the gloss, yes, the gloss Krylon worked well. So I think once I get it coated with one protective coat, I can then add other coats. So I'm experimenting with that. And the video I'm trying to produce here from St. Louis tomorrow and over the next couple of days actually is kind of a little more detail about the initial experiment with that Krylon protective coating material. So, Adam Cruz, welcome, and I'm with you. What's that? I've kind of got forced retirement going on myself. I probably do need a little income, and so I'm actually gonna regenerate my day trading activities. I had a period where I was unemployed in the past, and I made good money day trading. It's a lot of hard work, but I'll probably do that as well to fill in the blanks here. So the beauty of being full retirement age is I can use IRA money to trade stocks and not pay a penalty pulling the money out to live off of. So that's kind of my plan. What are you working on the layout currently, Heath? I'd like to know that. What do you do, Ed? I see you're talking about your employment. What is it that you do, sir? So if I was at my shop, I would certainly have other projects to show you. I could show you those auto loading racks, loading and unloading racks that I'm working on. You know, I got to tell you, I think it is a real, there might be an opportunity. There's models missing of intermodal equipment, you know, for the current era. The stuff that Walther's generated is for the 60s and 70s, you know, it's really old stuff. So, for example, that MyJack intermodal crane they have, it's a nice little model, but current cranes and rubber-tired gantry cranes for moving containers around don't look anything like that. So I do think there's an opportunity to do that. There's even automated, I don't know what you call them, tractors, I guess, that move containers around yards that are not occupied by a driver. Um, and the auto loading and unloading ramps look very different. So, I mean, a lot of modern intermodal equipment is just not available. So, that, let me see. Well, good luck, John, on the getting ready for retirement. I can tell you that in my experience, you're never ready. There's never enough money. You don't want your lifestyle to be diminished when you retire, and it's hard to have retirement income that replicates what you were making when you were working. And so that's been a stress point for my wife, who has one primary hobby: travel. And that's a very expensive hobby. Although building a model railroad land, especially a large one, isn't exactly cheap. That's it, James. The train budget is going to be lower. But I do think my life is going to get better in retirement. Just be more relaxed and, between Social Security and what we saved and the income coming off what we saved alone, I think we're going to be fine. So, interesting. Yeah, I need to look into a temp agency. I think that might give me some socialization and some income, but give me the flexibility to do what I want to do. But yeah, John, I would recommend doing a budget early. We haven't really budgeted, and honestly, I was expected to be working part time for my employer, and I got laid off, and so I was expecting to be working part time. But um, I think it's going to be just fine. I really do think it's going to be just fine. I've worked hard all my life, and I've got a lot of savings. So, um, and I'm not going to live forever, you know. So, wow, James. Yes. Well, we're glad to have you around. I'm glad to have you on my live stream, James. And yeah, health is very important. So you seem to be keeping your spirits up and doing some great modeling. So it's really awesome. It's really, I'm functionally retired right now. Okay. Yeah, we when we moved in to Pennsylvania last year, we moved into a smaller house, but of course, I then got a 2,000 square foot shop, so we have about 4,400 square feet combined between the shop and the townhouse. But my objective was to get a townhouse or something that had low maintenance, because I don't want to have 2 yards to maintain, 2 driveways to shovel with the shop and everything. So I really executed pretty well on that. The shop has got a lot of area to plow, but there's a guy in the neighborhood who's willing to plow it for me for 20 bucks a time. So that's really working out pretty well. It's got a very small amount of grass, and so and it has no trees, so no leaves to rake at the shop. So it's really a pretty good situation. That's right, JD. You're retired as well, and seem to be enjoying it, living with family, which which is great. Which is great. Joe Rader, I don't know if you're still on, but I believe you're retired as well, sir. So you might have some advice about how that fits in with model railroading. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's great, and I'm really able to dig out and utilize a lot of the stuff that I've been collecting over the years. So I know it's kind of enabling stash creation and maintenance, but I bought all these auto rack cars, not really having a plan for them. Now I'm building a intermodal auto transshipment yard, and I can use all these cars that I've bought over the years. So it's really working out very well. The feet for my bench work I bought years ago. And, oh, you did not, Joe. Okay. All right. Well, despite it all, Joe, you've managed to produce an awesome layout. So maybe you built that before you were retired. I don't know. But, all right. Well, I don't have anything more for you. I know I've run well over an hour. I really appreciate all of you being on the stream, supporting me, dealing me with this kludgy tech that I tried to pull together. I'll try and do it better. And dealing with the 10, 15, 20-minute wait before I could actually get on the stream. It was really difficult. You all hung in there, so I really appreciate your time, your camaraderie, and I look forward to doing it again in a couple of weeks. Ray, if you're still on and you could confirm the schedule, I should know this. But I think I'm on in 2 weeks. I'm not sure, but you can keep your duck. By the way, this was done just using the YouTube streaming, no software. I think if I'd used StreamYard or OBS or Prism Live software, I probably could have shared the screen with my tablet, and it would have been a better show from a tech standpoint. Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you being here. Mark, if you're still here, thank you. Thanks for your advice on my structure. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I think my wife has grabbed me some food. The hotel restaurant is only open till 9, so I think she's grabbed me some food, so I'm going to go. Okay, thank you, John. So Ray is next week, and then I go again. So I'm going to try again another little bit of an experiment. I have an action camera that I can attach to my hat, and I'm going to try and give you all a walking tour of my studio and hopefully run out and see some trains as I go by the shop, in addition to more updates on my project. And I hope to have my bench work further along in completion. And the big project for my trip to St. Louis is refining my track plan so I can build the next table. So thanks again, everybody. I really appreciate your camaraderie and being on the live stream with me. I hope you enjoyed it and you have a great week. And I will see you online during the week, I'm sure. Take care. Bye-bye.